Hi, and welcome to the ExpatRide Expat Car Services webinar. I'm so happy to have you here and delighted that you would take the next 30 minutes to hang out with me here. But let's get started. My name is Jesper Lovendal, and I'm the founder and CEO of ExpatRide. And it was actually because of my bad experiences trying to lease a car back in 2005 in New York as an expat that gave me the idea to solve that problem some years later. That was then the beginning of Expat Ride and how we evolved to where we are now, as I'm going to be showing you in the next slides. But what we're going to be going through today is just a short intro to Expat Ride, the global car market. What does it look like right now? Because it's not looking as good as we had hoped for. Background to the services that we provide. Then we're going to run through the services, and this is going to be very quickly on each of the services because we only have about 28 minutes left here. So if you need to have more information, you have any questions, we can set up a call. Just contact me or you can email me your questions. My contact details will also be at the end of the video. And then at the end, I'm going to talk about how to make a plan for all of these different services on a global scale, how to control it, and how to make it seamless. But let's get started. So Expat Ride, founded in 2011, solving the problem of leasing a car as an expat in the US. And since then, we've been challenged by relocation management companies, by corporate clients, by customers on delivering other services in other countries and just other services in the US. So we are now 100% focused, and we have that been from the very beginning on the global mobility industry. We do not work outside of the global mobility industry. Everything that we create is tailored to the industry, and we're very proud of that. So 100% focused. We now have an office here in Denmark where I'm sitting talking with you today. We have a new office in the Philippines to support the region out there, which we were very proud of. That opened in May. And then we have our headquarter and core staff and large part of our operation in Florida, the United States. And we have a mission to lower the CO2 impact of global assignments, which I'll touch upon on the last couple of slides. I'll also mention the word EcoRide throughout the presentation because it is our program to lower CO2 emissions across all of these services, as you can see here. So started with car leasing in the US, expanded it to another 39 countries. So we now deliver car leasing for expats in 40 countries, chauffeur services around the world, 156 countries, airport transfers, any major airport in the world, car rental, just about any country in the world, and bus and coach service in about 120 countries around the world. Before giving you more details on each of these different services, I just want to set some expectations for the global car market because we've all heard about the chip shortage that happened during the pandemic when certainly chips were going into entertainment systems, flat screens, laptops, all of the things that we suddenly needed to entertain ourselves and work from home. That required a lot of chips that were then not sold to the car manufacturers because the car manufacturers, the chip that they use, the chips manufacturers are not making as much money on those as the ones that they get from putting a chip into a computer or a PlayStation or any other electrical device. So there's more money to make chips for other industries than car manufacturers, which left them uh, lacking in behind, and they're still lacking because we thought that they had almost caught up now in terms of manufacturing chips again. But now the COVID fourth wave is hitting many Asian countries, shutting down production, which then has done so that many car manufacturers in both in Asia, Europe, and in the US have shut down production lines or whole factories waiting for those chips to arrive so they can start up again. The longest wait time that we're seeing right now is for electric vehicles. And in worst cases, we're looking at end of 2023 to deliver. Some audiences we were looking at 2024. So imagine you're signing on a car today here in November, and you might not get it before February 2024. So it's a different world we're living in terms of cars, and that is something that you have to consider when you're going out and buying a car. But especially for the assignees, to set that expectation that if you if you get the car at list price, then you're making a good deal. That's also the reason why the car rental prices have gone up a lot. We saw prices online, not with us, but online going up by 250, 300% over the summer, is because there's just not enough cars out there to meet the demand. And that's because the global car market is behind with 40 million cars right now. And so, what is 40 million cars? Well, on an annual basis, we produce about 90 to 100 million cars annually. Now, that has not happened over the last couple of years. So, we've gotten behind on car manufacturing uh, in terms of the demand. 40 million cars behind. With the new chip shortage that is happening again, we're going to get further behind. So my estimate is that the car market is not going to be itself like we knew it in 2019, probably before 2025. Now wait time will be a lot better when we get to the end of 2023, but as we knew it, going down and negotiating better deals on cars with your local dealership, end of 2024 is my estimate. Background to our services. So across the industry, rentals and leases, those words are used a lot differently. So just to um, give determination of how we, definition of how we use those two words, I want to highlight four different sections in this list. And the first one is the term. So rental cars is from 1 day and up. Rule of thumb is that anything less than 12 months is a rental car. They might call it a mini lease when it's 6 months, but it's still a rental car. So legally, you can get out of it at any time in most countries in the world. Leasing is from 12 to 24 months. 24 months being the US and the UK being some of the few countries where a lease cannot be done for less than 24 months legally. So then again, anything less than 24 months in those two countries is a rental. Other thing that I want to highlight is there's no commitment to a rental car. You can return that at any given time. Whereas if you commit to a lease, you're basically committing to the number of payments on the lease payment. So if it's 12 months, then it's 12 payments. And if you want to return that car earlier, then there's a penalty for returning it early. In some cases, we can assist with getting you out of that lease a little bit cheaper if it's an individual lease. If it's with us, we'll take that challenge upon us to make the best that we can do with our local provider. The other thing that I want to highlight in terms of difference is availability. I just talked about the chip shortage, so this shouldn't be a surprise that there's a wait time for lease vehicles. Rental cars, usually you can get a car same day or within a couple of days, we can set it up for you. Lease cars, expect anywhere from 3 to 4 months on readily available cars. If you want something specific that is very popular, then we're looking at 6 to 12 months or more. In some cases, we'll just advise against it if it's too much. The last part is car configuration choices. With the rental car, you get what you have ordered within a certain type, size. So you can't choose the color, you can't choose accessories, you can't choose the make and model. You get what is available. With leasing, we can locally source according to the assignee's needs. If we can find something that matches, that is available, or else we can assist with a factory order. Factory orders, when they're fast these days, 4 to 6 months should be expected. And again, it can take even longer, but we will steer the assignee towards a vehicle that is available quicker so that they don't get it at the end of their assignment. Now, why is leasing not an option in all countries? We saw the list before with rental cars, airport transfer, chauffeur service being available, and bus service being available in plus 100 countries. So why is it that leasing is only available in 40 countries? Now, in some countries, you need to be a resident in order to lease or finance a vehicle. Examples is Saudi Arabia, Israel, is some of those countries. Leasing is just not common. It's more common to finance a vehicle or buy it cash. And if it's financing, then it's usually from 5 to 10 years, which doesn't match with what an assignee on a 2-3 year assignment can be approved for. because usually you can't be approved for a longer term than what your visa is valid. So if it's 3 years, then your lease is 3 years. So paying off a car over 3 years, if it's an auto finance, might not be feasible for most people. Leasing companies just not interested in expats. They don't understand them. They don't want to deal with them. Now, many of our partners, we have overcome that view with. Some we can't. And that might mean that we haven't found the right partner yet in a location. When challenged, or you have some location that is really dear to you and you have a lot of assignees go to, and it's not listed amongst the leasing companies, we will take upon us this challenge and try to find a solution. In some cases, it just might be a short delay that you can't register a vehicle, get a car delivered before you have a local driver's license. That is a hurdle in many US states, as an example. Going through the different services that I just listed, again, I'm going to be going through these fairly quickly. So if you have any questions, shoot me an email, set up a call, or I'll just answer your email if I can do that over an email. So Expat Car Leasing, what I want to highlight here is that the most important thing is we don't need a local credit history in order to get an individual approved for a lease. In many countries, we can lease the car on behalf of the assignee, so they don't even need to go through a credit approval, and we will just, and those are only in the cases where we invoice the relocation management company or the client directly. We do not invoice individuals directly, but we can do this now in many different countries around the world. We have a personal car shopper, which will assist the assignee with the charge of the vehicle, with any quotes, test drives, registering the vehicle. Usually lease comes with insurance built into the lease program in countries like the UK and the US, again, being the special countries. Auto insurance is separate, but we'll introduce them to a good expat auto insurance provider. Jumping onto rental cars, you all know the program. You've all tried it. We work with all of the major rental car companies in the world. We also work with a lot of local suppliers because we, in some cases, just need something more tailored, something more a concierge service that is not available through a big name brand. Rental cars available on a daily basis. What is very important here is that the insurances that it's included in most cases is a zero deductible. And that means that the assignee can return the car with a missing door, a missing wheel, and there's no extra cost for them. And that is just a lot of bad experiences and customer complaints years back that made us make this decision where everybody's just more happy when it's zero deductible. It comes at an extra cost, but combined with our competitive pricing, it's very affordable. Airport transfer. Airport transfer usually starts at an airport inside a specific location, or starts at an address and goes to an airport, but it can also be anywhere from A to B, any transfers needed. It's a meet and greet service, so there's going to be a guy or girl standing outside with the family name on it, help them with their luggage and take them to wherever they're starting the first night. But this can also be combined with our fast track service, which is a person standing as they exit the aircraft, then fast tracking them through customs, immigration, helping them with their luggage, introducing them to their driver, who then drives them to wherever they're staying the first night. And this is a service that can only be combined with our airport transfer service. Chauffeur service is when a car is needed for more time than just from A to B on an hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, annual basis. We usually see this service delivered on a monthly to an annual basis, but most recently we've also seen many assignees getting a chauffeur for 5 days. The first 5 days they're in a location so that they don't have to operate a vehicle in their new location. It might be that they're driving in the opposite direction or opposite side, that they're just not used to the way that they're driving in their new location, and just getting customized with the local surroundings before they start operating a vehicle takes a lot of stress level away from the assignees, but also is in some cases safer because they don't have all those things in their heads, and new location, jet lagged, and operating a vehicle at the same time. So, but in most cases, it is on a monthly or an annual basis when we book these services. Armored vehicles are available. I'll talk about that in a few slides. The programs, are usually looks like this: flexible terms, so a um, monthly basis on an annual service, 30 days termination, daily hours anywhere from 10 to 12 hours to cover a full workday, including transportation, Monday through Saturday, so 6 days. It could also be 7 days, but then it requires two drivers, one usually for the work week and one for the weekend. Kilometers included, anywhere from 3 to 4,000 kilometers a month is the average. Parking fees, overtime are extra, and overtime is just coordinated with the driver on a daily basis when needed. Armored vehicles, not something that we deliver on a daily basis, but in some cases where there is a elevated need of security, an armored vehicle might be requested by the client, and that could be a high-ranking executive. It could be things that are happening or has happened in that location that requires armored vehicles for new assignees there, or it could be from an insurance perspective. However, we can assist in 48 countries with armored vehicles. They are not as readily available. It takes a few weeks to source usually an armored vehicle, so it's not something that we can just come up with in a couple of days. And there's also a variety of armored vehicles, so you'll need to determine how much bullet power the armored vehicle should withstand. It's a long talk about armored vehicles, but I just wanted to share with you that that's also something that we can deliver, and also with armed or unarmed security in the vehicle. Bus and coach service is something that we started on recently, and it's a service that we tailored for a large group of workers, engineers going to a corporate housing, going to a work site every day. Maybe it's 6 months, 9 months. So we take them to the work site and we pick them up after work. We do a few stops, so grocery shopping, other points of interest on the way back, drop them off at the corporate housing, and we do that on a daily basis. Could also be regular airport transfers for larger groups of people, or it could be business roadshow. Let's say you're going on a roadshow in a new locations where you're building factories or purchased a company and you need to set up settling in services. We can arrange that bus and roadshow for you if needed. We've done that multiple times. So anything on four wheels basically and up, we can assist with. We don't do motorcycles or tuk-tuks, as they're called in Thailand. But anything four wheels and up, we can assist with. Just challenge us. And we do all this combined with a centralized direct billing service. So we will usually direct bill your preferred relocation management company. We have 30-day payment terms. We control that all the expenses are in according to what we agreed to. Anything extras that they put on or try to get away with, we make sure that that is deleted, removed. And if you've ever dealt with multiple invoices on a regular basis from rental car companies, you will know that it's a nightmare that we're taking off your hands. So we invoice in multiple currencies. We have bank accounts in continents around the world for ease of payments. So centralized billing. Service combinations. So service combinations is the combination of all the services that I just showed to you. Now let's go down and focus on the leasing example here, marked in red. We start with the fast track. So we're meeting your assignee as they exit the aircraft with a sign with a name on it, fast track them through immigration, customs, help them out with their luggage, introduce them to their airport transfer, which will take them to wherever they're staying the first night. Before they get on the flight, we've already given your assignee information on who and where to call for their rental car the next day, whether they're getting picked up or need to go to the location. So that is all set up for them for the next day to pick up. While they're in the rental car, we start the process of finding their more permanent vehicle, so that once their rental period is up, we should be able to match that when the car is delivered. Now do think about maybe extending the number of months that you provide rental cars for, because it is a tough market out there to just get any type of vehicle. So once they're in the vehicle, then they go through their assignment. At the end of their assignment, if we can match it perfectly with the delivery of the return of the lease, then they can pick them up with the airport transfer. If not, we'll get them a rental car before they go to the airport. And then when they arrive curbside at the airport, there's going to be a person there standing with sign with a name on it, fast track them through the airport and out to their gate. So basically, we deliver a flight to flight service and across all the needs that an assignee will have in any location across the globe. Now, how do we do this in a more planned way? And so we all get an overview of what is happening everywhere for each of these assignees. That is where we have the transportation plan. And the benefits of having a transportation plan is basically having the last piece of the puzzle in completing your relocation support program. So what we see ExpatRide is delivering is that last piece, being that you already have the household moving goods in place. You have the immigration, you have the housing, you have schools, you have spousal support, cultural awareness, etc. What very few corporations have for their assignees is a global overview and a global program for any type of transportation that they will encounter or need when they get to their new location. And that, in many cases, something that is happens or is delivered by the location that they go to. It's difficult to get a unified overview of what is delivered on location according to the tier. What is the budget, the expectation management for the assignees? What can you get for that car lounge when you get to that new location? How much time are you going to be spending on finding your own vehicle? And including all of these expectations into a policy and an agreement. Now, what we build here is basically a platform for a fully functional program with the plan. And I'll give you options in the next slide. But what we try to accomplish here is a more accurate project relocation cost, so that you can actually project have an idea of the actual cost that will be incurred on multiple locations around the world when it comes to transportations. Will help you with a global simplified invoicing for all of that. The payment process will be a lot easier. And again, all this coordinated through your relocation management company. Not only the services, but also the payments can be done. Any new vendors needed, we'll source them. If there's a vendor that doesn't live up to our expectations, in the worst case, your expectations, then we'll source new vendors, take that headache away. And all in all, it should just create a more aerodynamic program that will make it a more effective use of the assignee's time and the global mobility team's time. So, as I said, two options. So we got a light version where we do most of the work, and there's a full version where we do most of the work together. And so let's start with the full version. It's a plan that is in 3 sections. So you see the orange plan, the orange section, the blue plan, and the green section. And what this plan does is that it aligns the following things: the customary transportation across the different continents. So what is customary in terms of a certain employer, their employee to have driving? Is it a driver having a chauffeur on a daily basis, or is it taking the metro? Budgets, locations, and tier compensation will be aligned. Policy for car allowances in the different locations, if that is needed. Approved vehicles, what kind of vehicles can they get? What kind of vehicles should we make sure that they get? And all of this is, of course, tailored according to your specific needs. We don't have a finished program that we just give you. This is every little aspect of this is put together for you, and it's all, again, combined with centralized direct billing. Jumping to the first part of the plan is for us and you to get an overview of all of the existing solutions that you already have in place. So that could be that in one location, it's the uncle of the receptionist that is the airport transfer service. And he does a great job. Everybody loves him. So let's source him in. Let's take him and use him for our transportation plan. In other cases, we might use our own local providers because of the benchmark that we'll do in order to uh, check the level of professionalism and support and availability of vehicles that any current provider has. So again, benchmark, get an overview. Once we have that, we'll get on a call and go through the current solutions that are there, that you have, that we might have, identify any challenges, possible improvements that we can agree on. With that in place, we'll try to get from you a description of what you would like in terms of especially cost, vehicles, approved vehicles, what kind of transportation will you cover in certain two different tiers. And once we have an idea about that, it doesn't need to be set in stone. But then what we can do is we can present a recommendation for all the transportation needs, all of the locations, cost estimates, time frames in terms of delivering, insurance, or other local requirements that needs to be factored in. Um, and then once we have an agreed on that, this looks good, then we'll move to the next stage, where all involved teams are informed about this program, what we are trying to accomplish. We'll put together some follow-up dates. We'll finish up the estimates and the complete overview. And once we have that, then it's time to communicate and roll out the strategy. Everything has been finalized, support flows, milestones, locations, and service category is on rollout, and we're executing on the agreement that we put together over these last or these 6 different steps here. Now, that might be a bit much to begin with, so we can also just ease into it with the transportation light plan, and then we can always upgrade. That's a good thing. So just send us a list of all your office addresses, and what we'll put together is a list of services available in each of these locations, recommendation for service combinations per location, as I said, with fast track, airport transfer, rental cars, car lease, and so on, for each of the locations, estimated pricing per location, notes on any local requirements that you should be aware of, and it's all delivered in a neat document for you. The EcoRide program is something that we put together because now, again, with the availability of electric vehicles, hybrid vehicles, it might actually be a little premature to talk about it today, but I want you to know that this is something that we put a program together about. It's something that will be available once more eco-friendly vehicles are available on a larger scale. But we have a program in place that you can utilize once vehicles are available. So let's just say that they are all available. It's a good old days back in, we are fast forwarding to 2025. And so the EcoRide program that we put together is a 3-step program. We already started with the first part. We went out to and vetted all of our partners in terms of how ready are they with eco-friendly cars. Is it a goal for them to have it? Some of them were not even interested. So in those cases, we went out and found other local providers so that we can make sure that we have a partner who will source eco-friendly cars when they become available. So that was the first part. Next part was our MAP strategy, which is a thing that we do ourselves at ExpatRide, and that's motivating, assisting, and pushing greener choices. Pushing greener choices is what we do when there is a hybrid vehicle available, let's say a rental car, and it comes in at the same cost as a regular diesel or a gasoline car, then we will always book the hybrid car without asking the assignee what their preference is. Because a hybrid vehicle can save minimum of 30% on the CO2 emission on a regular a gasoline or diesel car. So it's a no-brainer if you want to do good for the environment to book a hybrid vehicle. But we also know that the assignees have so many things going on in their heads. There are so many variables that they need to take care of. So choosing an eco-friendly car for a rental car that they're only going to have for a couple of months might not even be something that they considered. But we have had many assignees coming back to us and say, hey, great, I'm so happy that you got me a hybrid is something that I wanted to do myself, but I hadn't even thought about it before I started driving it. So thank you. The EcoRide Choice Program is a program where we, together with you, create a mandate. So a program where we mandate in these certain areas, locations where hybrid electric vehicles are readily available and it makes sense to drive them, then your employees need to drive a eco-friendly car, and we will make sure that they get one. So that's the EcoRide Choice Program, a mandated do better program, if you can say so. Here's an example of what the difference is between gasoline, hybrid, and electric cars. Now, of course, this all comes down to how clean is the energy that comes into these cars. But rule of thumb is basically that you save 30% on the CO2 emission on switching to a hybrid car. You lower the CO2 emission by 80% when it's an electric vehicle. If it's only windmill energy that goes into that car, it's even less. So a huge impact on the environment especially when you multiply that out across a whole expat population. So here's an example where switching just 50 employees to hybrid vehicles on an annual basis will save 6,700 trees per year. That's 11 trees per car per month just from switching to a hybrid. That's huge. So that's something that we really want to push. Again, it's out in the future, but I just wanted you to be assured that there's something that we have planned for, and it's something that is close to our heart to do better with the transportations that we provide. Questions? I think I'm going to end this session here in terms of the recording. And so don't go anywhere. I'm just going to say goodbye. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to end the recording here, and then I'll start answering the questions that are coming in here on the stream. Thank you so much.